Good morning, y'all. Another beautiful day out here on our homestead as I'm surrounded by butterflies. So we've basically had a week straight of rain.
Chickens, you're dumb. You're dumb. Go inside.
I haven't been able to get outside and do anything, and the grass and the weeds have gotten away from us yet again. But it's hurricane season, so if thunderstorms are all that we're getting, I'll take it. Anyway, I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of an update on how our great experiment back here with the chickens went. I moved them this morning, as you all saw, and I haven't actually had a chance to get back and look at what they had done. So I'm gonna do that right now with y'all.
Hi, chicken.
And after that lovely interlude, so where I'm standing is right where we had the chickens the last time, helping us deal with these weeds. It's been over a week. Like I said earlier, we had a lot of thunderstorms, so I wasn't able to get out here and move them like I wanted to. So they stayed a little bit longer than they should have, and maybe worked down the grass a little more than we wanted. But it still gives us a result. So let's see if it's the one that we were looking for. So right here is the area where I worked up with the hand tools, and then as we go down, we're actually going to the area that the chickens worked on their own. So as you can see in the video here, the chickens have done a lot of disturbance. They've tilled up a lot of the soil, and they've eaten a lot of the unwanted plants back here. Whether or not they've loosened up the roots enough for me to pull them up by hand is a different story. But this is a really great start for back here. So when we first came down here, this entire area looked like this. It was just super duper woolly. And we've even chopped this down a few times since we've been here. But if you come to the area where the chickens worked for about a week, and there's nothing there. Just a few scraps of things that they probably wouldn't eat anyway. You could see exactly where the line of the fence was. All the way around. Awesome job. So the other problem that we had with all the rain and the thunderstorms, I wasn't able to move the coop as much, which led to certain other complications. Chicken squat is very high in nitrogen, but too much nitrogen is bad for the soil, can burn it. It takes a long time for the soil to process. So what you do to slow down that is add carbonaceous material. In this case, we used wood chips. So every time I came out here and I noticed a little bit of a smell, I threw down some wood shavings, which then the chicken squatted and tilled up. And it started a composting process. Now, it didn't have enough time to really get jump started, but this looks promising for another project we have in the future, using a deep bedding method with the chickens in order to jumpstart our compost pile. So we actually ended up getting 2 experiments completed out of this one section. Golly day, almighty. Oh, it's hot. Oh my gosh, it's hot. Right now I'm standing out in the front of the property where the chickens were before I moved them around to our project area. And this was just to get them used to the new property we were on, and to give us direct line of sight from the front door, just so we could keep an eye on them until they got adjusted. And as you can see behind me, there are a few spots where you can see low grass, but I was able to actually move them on a daily basis, just about. I was able to move the coop, so the squat deposits were spread out over the entire area, which kept the grass from burning. Now, probably doesn't show up too well on camera, but this area is actually much greener than the surrounding grass because of those nitrogen deposits. Now I'll show you an example of when we didn't get to move the coop regularly, and I didn't get a chance to put any carbonaceous material down. Carboniferous? Carbonaceous? I didn't get to put wood chips down. So you can see this area right here behind me is very bald. There's not a lot of grass growing back into it, and this was probably the second location that we moved them to. My chicken sitter wasn't strong enough to move the actual coop herself, so they just stayed put. Now, the reason why it's so bald is because nothing was added to slow down that nitrogen, and it burned the grass, so we have a bald spot. But you can see with all the time that's passed, the grass is starting to grow back in, and it's growing in much greener and much stronger, much thicker. This is part of what we want to do with the rest of the property and help us plant with our garden. Have the chickens work in here, prep, spread the manure, and till in any soil amendments necessary for us to grow our garden. And it's less work on us. The chickens do it naturally. It's not hard for them to do. They want to do it. We're just using that natural instinct to our benefit. So here's a much closer view of another area that we didn't get a chance to move the chickens as often as we should have. And we didn't get a chance to add any of that material to slow down the nitrogen uptake. It was a much larger area a few weeks ago. The grass is starting to grow in, and as you can see, these shoots that are growing in right now are much greener, much taller, and they look a lot healthier than the grass that was here before. In time, the nitrogen levels will even out, the grass will grow back stronger. This is what we want. We want to make this soil better for us. Chickens aren't lawnmowers. They won't cut your grass for you like goats or alpaca or cows, sheep. But they will disturb the soil. They'll aerate. They'll till up. They'll spread. Every animal has its purpose. You just have to harness it. Well, that's the plan anyway. We're far from done. We have a lot more work to do on this property. This is just a small facet of what we're trying to do. We hope someday to turn this into a super productive homestead. Hopefully grow most of our own food here, including meat birds. That's something down the road. Maybe we'll talk about as we get closer to that project beginning. But enough about chickens. I've got some real work to do. I only got a few hours before the next thunderstorm rolls through, and I gotta cut this whole property down with the mower. So I better get started on that and stop flapping my jaw. Oh my gosh!